What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Wrestling Podcast. We have our hosts, Will, me, and Will. How you doing, William?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. And today we have our special guest, Kramer Whitelaw. How you doing, Kramer?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. All right, so let's get on to our first question.
So can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Kramer Whitelaw. I'm a wrestling coach here in Baltimore, Maryland. Started wrestling when I was 5 years old for the Dundalk Hawks here, local rec program. And then went on to wrestle here in high school at a private school here in Maryland, and wrestled Division I in college at George Mason University. And after college, got out of coaching for a couple of years, and then got back into coaching a lot. William will probably remember that. He was in elementary school then. And then I was fortunate enough to open up my own facility. So I run Ground Control Wrestling Academy here in Baltimore. Got to open my own business with the big emphasis being on kids from my neck of the woods or my side of town, having a year-round facility to come in and train and get better. When I was a kid, you had to drive, an hour and a half away in order to find a good room with practice partners. So I wanted to make that a little bit easier for kids growing up. So I operate Ground Control. I coach at Gilman School. Coach William there, Coach Emmett there, and love the sport of wrestling. And hopefully I'll be doing it until I can't walk anymore. So
nice. So what do you enjoy the most about running Ground Control?
Working with you guys. I mean, it's the highlight of being a coach. It's the reason I do it is helping young wrestlers achieve their goals. And you guys will hear me. There's a phrase I'm sure you've heard me say it 100 times. William and Emmett is maximizing potential. That's my number one goal, is to help you guys maximize your potential and have you go on and be more successful than me. That's always my goal at the end of the day, is to make sure you guys, I at least do my part to set you up to be more successful than me. That's my goal. So
Definitely. Why did you start coaching at Gilman?
So Coach Holmes, the head coach, he and I were high school teammates, and we worked together. We wrestled together in high school. I was his drill partner, practice partner for a couple of years, and we always stayed friends. And I started coaching at McDonough after college, helping out there, and then took a little break from coaching. When I got back into coaching again, I was coaching at Sparrows Point High School in my hometown, and then I ended up going out to St. Paul's private school out in Brooklynville, Maryland. And then after that, I was able to slide on over to Gilman. And Coach Holmes and I had kind of talked about it for years, about me coming over and helping them. And a few, it's been 2.5 years, William?
Yep.
2.5 years ago, the timing worked out right, and my schedule worked out where it's going to allow me to be out in Gilman. So excited to be there. Gilman was one of the schools I can see why I definitely strongly considered it, and I think it's a great place, and we're very, very lucky. Great focus on athletics, but also a good academic curriculum as well. So it's great special place. I love being there.
Mm-hmm. Are there any matches that you think about from your career?
There's a couple that I talk about big time. College match. I was wrestling down at Virginia Tech. It was my first ever match in college, other than our wrestle-offs, where the inter squad. And we went down to Virginia Tech, and it was actually like a recruit weekend for Virginia Tech. So that's a time when the coaches will bring in potential, recruits and their families, and they try to show off a little bit. And they brought in George Mason figuring they were going to beat us up really bad. And I was wrestling a kid named Matt Epperly, who was a defending ACC champ from the year before. I think he was ranked. It was definitely top 15 going into that preseason. And I got my butt whooped for the first 2 periods, but hung in the match and just kept wrestling and not get discouraged and just keeping my mind clear. What do I need to do to win? And I ended up the beginning of the 3rd period, right off the whistle, locking up a near side cradle and kind of doing a reverse roll through. Instead of rolling him to his head side, rolled him to his butt side, came out on top and ended up pinning him. And it came down to our heavyweight match for that dual meet. We ended up losing, but it was a lot more competitive, and it was a great environment for me, a great win for me to get right off the bat in college. So
Nice.
that's probably the one I talk about the most, and then the next one would be my junior year of high school, national preps in the blood round. I beat a familiar foe, a guy named Chris King. His nephew trains with me full time at the gym now. But Chris and I had a big rivalry in high school, and I had lost to Chris 2 weeks before in the MIAA finals. And then he was on the opposite side at the state tournament, so I didn't get to wrestle him at the state tournament. He took 2nd place, lost in the finals. And I wrestled him in the blood round at national preps, and I beat him. And it was actually it was great for me to beat, again, a familiar foe, but I also got my 100th win as well in the blood round of national preps my junior year. So it's a big accomplishment for me. It's something I always go out of my way to find the guys that are able to capture 100 wins in their first 3 years of high school. It's a big accomplishment. So it's always something that was very special for me. So those are the 2 big ones that I remember and think about often, and try and use the lessons I learned in those matches, or tap into what my emotions were during those matches to try and fire up my wrestlers now. So.
Okay. How did you start wrestling?
How or when?
How?
How. So I was in kindergarten at Chesapeake Terrace Elementary School. And back then, they didn't send out emails with anything. They would give you a little flyer, and you would put it in your folder and take it home to your parents so your parents could see all the important paperwork. Or there was a flyer that came in through the school for the Dundalk Hawks wrestling program. And I liked professional wrestling a lot at the time. And I told my parents, I want to go try this wrestling thing. And they anticipated that I would end up quitting within a few weeks. And, here we are 25 years later, and I'm still doing it. So.
Nice. So you're a Fargo All-American. What weight class did you wrestle, and what style, and what place did you get?
Here, I think I'll tell you. I think I got the award right here.
All right.
So it was 145 pounds. I took 4th, and it was in Greco. I went out to I was a sophomore that year, so it was my 2nd year as a cadet. I went out as a freshman, won a couple matches, got the jitters out, wrestled on mat number 1, the elevated mat. So I was acclimated pretty quickly, but I did not have super high hopes for myself sophomore year. But I'll tell you, it's a story I tell a lot of people, is when I was in high school, we did our last kind of acclimation camp before Fargo at McDonough. And you would live in the dorms there for the week, and you would train with your teammates, and everyone get ready for Fargo. It was great. And one of the things we did there was we assessed our goals. And I wrote that I wanted to place top 8 at Fargo. And some of my buddies snickered and laughed. So I crossed it out and I wrote top 6. And I ended up going out to Fargo, getting on a good roll out in Greco. The rule set back then made it great for me with my game plan. I was an arm spin guy. And in Greco, I would dig for an overhook. And if I could catch you in an arm spin, back then we were getting 3 points for that. And then all I did was I mastered a gut wrench. I dedicated my entire summer previous to making the most painful gut wrench that I could have with the most torque where people couldn't fight it. And so if I could hit you with an arm spin for 3 points, I'd get on top of you and gut you a couple times and end the match. And if I hit the arm spin and you defended it, I'd usually come out on top, get my 1 point, and then go right to my gut wrench and just roll. So luckily I was able to, come out and place pretty high. Lost to a kid from Florida for third place, Zach Mastro. It's a name I'll never forget. Guy beat me out there pretty good for third place, but I was very happy with my accomplishment. So.
Yeah. So besides wrestling, you like to fish and play golf. Which do you like better?
Fishing is probably my favorite. A good day out on the boat is better, or a bad day out on the boat not catching fish is better than a good day at work. Tough days out on the golf course can be real tough. I think golf is the hardest sport I've ever tried to learn, so it can be a little frustrating sometimes. But I'm always happy with her fishing. If even if we're not catching anything, it's just nice being out on the water. That's my favorite place to be. I live on the water, so I love being out on the water, whether it's boat, kayak, jet ski, paddleboard, whatever I can do. I love being out there. So I'd say fishing is my favorite. But if I could trade in all of my wrestling ability and talent, I'd probably trade it in for golf talent, so I could be a wealthy golfer living on a big golf course somewhere. So yeah, fishing's my favorite, but I wish I was better at golf. So.
Okay. Which do you like better, being the wrestler or being the coach?
Being the coach, 100%. So I loved being a wrestler, but I started coaching while I was in high school. At McDonough, we ran a program called the Mighty Mites. So they were a bunch of young, elementary school kids, kindergarten kids, and typically at least one night a week, I'd skip out of study hall and I'd go down and coach the kids. So it was something I realized at a young age that I had a special gift with, a special ability to be able to relate with people and coach, and it's been incredibly fulfilling. And also, I don't have to make weight to be a coach, so that's probably the best part of being a coach, not a wrestler. So
True.
Other than George Mason, what other colleges did you consider?
So Lehigh University was my my number one pick. That's where I really wanted to go to school. One of my high school teammates, that's where he went. We were really good buddies. Josh Fitch, he's a coach out at McDonough now. But I loved my visit up there, loved the school. Coach Greg Strobel was the head coach up there at the time. And he and I, on my recruiting trip, we did some fly fishing. And he would come down to McDonough sometimes, and we would always talk about fishing and hitting the ponds. So I really, really wanted to go to school there. Unfortunately, something I praise to all you guys now is that, academics is the most important part. It's great to be a good wrestler, but it's better to be a good student and an okay wrestler. And I was a fairly decent wrestler, and I, again, was a decent student, but there's definitely some things that could have gone differently for me down the road if I would have focused in on the books or, had someone like me. That's what I tell people a lot. My biggest goal is to be what was missing for me when I was a young wrestler, someone to look me in the eye and tell me straight up, hey, you're not going to reach your goals if you're not moving in a certain direction. But so I ended up waitlisted to Lehigh, so that was my big choice. And then Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina, was another one of the big schools I really liked. But I love George Mason. I had a cousin that went there, played lacrosse there. She was very successful, so I was close with her. I'd go down to a lot of her games. I became very familiar with the school and the program, and it's a great academic school. And I had an opportunity to come in and make an impact as a freshman. I was in the starting lineup as a freshman and beat out some guys that had been there for a few years. So it was a great place for me. But like I said, if I would have hit the books a little bit harder and had a little bit more sense in me, things probably would have gone a little bit different. Maybe I would have gotten to one of my dream schools. So,
if you could remember a little bit about your mindset, can you tell us what's going on in your head before a wrestling match?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, there wasn't a whole lot of focus on mindset. I can tell you for the first 4 years that I wrestled, I started when I was 5. I didn't win a tournament until I was 9 years old. I never had anyone in my ear talking about the psychological side and how to be mentally focused and prepared. The big switch that happened for me, I was probably 11, when I had a coach tell me, hey, when you go out on the mat, you need to act as though that person wants to hurt you and demoralize you and embarrass you. And you have to take it personal. So for me, my mindset, and when I started to become a better wrestler, was I started to take everything personal. That guy standing across from me thought that he might be able to beat me, and I took that personal. So that's the way it really worked. We're really big on mindset now. I preach to you guys all the time about the way you're thinking and the way you're acting, whether it's your body language or things you're telling yourself prior to a match. For me, it was just really being relaxed. I had a big thing with being anxious. So I'd be up warming up, and all of a sudden I'd be on deck, and my stomach would start grumbling a little bit, and I'd have to go to the bathroom. I'd tell my dad, and he'd know. But I had a lot of anxiety before I wrestled. I was not super confident. I wasn't cool as a cucumber like a lot of guys are now. I let my emotions get the better of me in a lot of instances. But like I said, all I can really remember is just trying to take it personal. That this guy, even it was an insult to me that they thought they could even keep it close, let alone beat me. And I wanted to go out there and seal the deal. And one of my biggest goals was, whenever I wrestled someone, I never wanted them to wrestle me again. I would want them to feel like they would rather forfeit than have to go out and wrestle me again. So, I use the word now, demoralize, or break the will of your opponent, and that's I got a little bit of that from my competitive days. Just again trying to go out there and score a lot of points and look flashy. That was something that mattered a lot to me when I was younger, hitting cool moves. But really, at the end of the day, I just took it personal. Where, hey, if you think you can beat me, I'm gonna prove you otherwise. So,
what is your favorite thing about wrestling?
Probably the people that I've met, the connections I've made. I mean, there's people I met when I was 5 years old in my first year that I still have connections with now, whether people we wrestled with or coaches or things like that. I'm given an incredible opportunity to be in front of some outstanding kids, but more importantly, parents. Parents of wrestlers, in my opinion, are the most dedicated. They're the most willing to make sacrifices. Again, in my opinion. And I typically see eye to eye with a lot of the parents that of kids that I coach. They wear their heart on their sleeves. They have a lot of emotion, but more importantly, they care about their kids. And wrestling is one of those sports where having a strong support system and a strong family makes all the difference. And I like to be that same thing. If you don't have that support at home, I want to be the guy that you can lean on for support. So the people, 100%. The people I've met over the years has been incredible, and the relationships I've built, I can't compare it to anything I've ever had outside of the sport. So,
nice. Around how much weight would you say you cut in high school, and do you have any weight cut stories?
So in high school, the worst was my freshman year. So I think I wrestled 1/3 for a little bit my freshman year, which was a big cut for me. I wasn't the biggest kid, but I had never really cut a lot of weight. But as a freshman in high school, in order to be a starter at McDonough, I had to drop a weight class. And I knew it was tough for me. And then even into my sophomore year, if I kind of set my mind on the weight class I was going to make, that's the weight class I was going to wrestle. As far as stories go, we wrestled at a tournament in Disney World. Disney World, right? Isn't that in Florida? Disneyland's in California. So Disney World, we wrestled at the KSA duels down there. And I can remember having to make scratch weight for like the first, 3 or 4 weigh-ins. Every time we weighed in, I had to make scratch weight. And it was because of our dissension plan with our weight certification. And I had to make the weight. So a lot of my friends were going out and enjoying the parks and eating whatever they wanted to. And for me, I had to make scratch weight or, within a pound that entire trip. So I can tell you when I last time there, I went crazy in Disney World. I had a funnel cake with a sheet of ice cream on top of it that was about the size of Emmett's head, which is pretty big. And I enjoyed it. So I cut a lot of weight. I definitely did things the wrong way. I can tell you guys that, I was one of the guys that put on a sauna suit or put on a trash bag and got on a treadmill and ran and did all that. My dad was the kind of guy where if you committed to something and you put your word that you were going to do it, he would hold you to it. So, on my Christmas when I was 11 years old, we got our first treadmill and I got my first sauna suit in the same gift exchange, me opening presents. And my dad made sure that I made weight because I committed to it, and it taught me a lot. I cried. My dad would torture me. He'd hold a bowl of ice cream in front of my face while I was on the treadmill. He'd say, just quit. If you want to, just quit. I'll give you a bite. But I didn't want to. So it was his way of teaching me that the best things in life are earned. You got to work for them. Nothing comes free. And I learned a lot. But more specifically, I learned that I kind of learned how to do it a better way. I started to learn how to manage my weight instead of, losing, 6-7 pounds, the night before. But I will tell you, until the end of my competitive career, I was always sucking weight the night before. I was never the guy that could stick to a diet and stay a pound or two over for the whole season. I would balloon up and I'd have to lose a lot of weight, but that was my way of doing it. I don't recommend it to you guys. So.
Okay. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Ooh. Probably Dave Scholl. Guy that I still, I won't say admired, because the more and more I learn about him in my young adult life, the more I aspire to be like him. He was a student of the sport, and he was able to find common ground with a lot of people. In Russia, the Russians loved him, even though that was at a time where things were a little hostile with America and Russia, the USSR. But so yeah, Dave Schultz is probably my favorite. I love watching his videos, technique, and again, it's someone who I try to mirror now with my coaching ability. And he's also a guy who, he continued to compete competitively, but I think coaching made him an even better wrestler. That's what made his ability to coach and help others. So.
What do you consider to be your highest accomplishment of your career, or what are you most proud of?
Yeah, I was a 3-time All-American at National Preps, so that was a pretty cool honor for me. Not a lot of people do that. Being a 4-time National Prep All-American is a really, really big deal, but I think being a 3-time was big for me. My freshman year, they still wrestled a piggyback kind of system, or they'll call it a repechage in freestyle. But I lost to the number 1 seed in the tournament, and I had to wait to see how he progressed through the tournament in order to get back in, which was a big deal. So, if you lost a first-round match and then that guy lost, you never got an opportunity to come back in and wrestle back. They changed that my sophomore year, and I ended up being a 3-time All-American. So that's something I'm very proud of. I beat some good people there at the National Prep Tournament. Obviously, All-American Fargo has a lot of prestige to it, and being getting on the podium at Beast were big for me. College was just, I had 3 wrestle-offs when we did our inter squad. I wrestled 3 matches in one night at 3 different weight classes. So I was able to come in there as a freshman, maybe a little bit of an underdog, but just showed that I belonged, and it ended up working. Ended up working out for me. Like I said, I was in the starting lineup. So couple of different things I'm proud of, but again, they're small goals compared to what I hope you guys have, aspirations for. And I know, guys I've coached here in the past, 5 years, I know they have goals that are even bigger than that, which is even more special for me. So.
Yeah. What is the atmosphere of some of these big tournaments you wrestle at, like Fargo, National Preps, and some of these college tournaments?
Yeah, pretty wild. I can remember wrestling at Eastern Nationals when I was a kid. So you do the Mawas and you would qualify. The Penn tournament was at Penn State, and we wrestled up at Penn State, and I thought that was a great environment until I went and wrestled at the Nittany Lion Open in college, and you just realize how much more amplified it is. I love wrestling in front of crowds. I feel like part of me, it helped relieve some anxiety for me. Being anxious and nervous about the outcome, but having a group of people and knowing that no matter what, I was just there to put on a show. So I was fortunate, when I was at McDonough, we were ranked, top 15 in the country. I think we were 12th or 13th overall. And we had a tremendous amount of support. So, our matches against Mount St. Joe were great, standing room only in the McDonough gym. We went up and wrestled at Blair Academy one year when I was in high school, and we beat Bergen Catholic, who was a highly ranked program at that time, and that was electric. And then we lost. It came down to the last match of our dual meet against St. Ed's. I think they were 5th in the country at the time. We lost the last match to push it by. Amazing atmosphere. And then we got our butts whooped by Blair, and even that was an incredible atmosphere. So I'd say as far as high school goes, it's great to wrestle in Fargo in these big arenas, but wrestling up at Blair was a really intimate setting. It wasn't as many people number-wise, but the gym felt like there were 10,000 people in it with the noise and everything they brought through. So I spent a lot of time in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania as a kid, traveling to tournaments and spending a lot of time with my dad, on back roads, wrestling in random wrestling tournaments. And some of those places where I'd say were probably the best, just people that love wrestling and love supporting it, even though, capacity wise, they're getting tournaments that are way bigger. I think those little environments are probably my favorite. So.
William?
Why did you want to open ground control?
I kind of touched on it a little bit before. I wanted to make a facility, a year-round training facility for kids from my side of town, the east side of Baltimore County, to have an opportunity. When I was a kid, I used to drive out to Mount Airy, out to the Maniacs room with Coach DeSarno, and my dad would pick me up from McDonough, and we would drive out to the Maniacs room and train, and then drive all the way home. And it was about an hour and a half from my parents' house. And thank goodness I had a dad that had the ability and the time to be able to do that, and also had it in him that he wanted to support me and give me everything I could. But it was really important for me to have a place a little bit more local for kids to come and train, but also a place where I could kind of run the show, and I could put my coaching philosophy out there and my curriculum and all the technique I wanted to work on, and do it my way, do it the right way. So it was a huge opportunity for me. John Rollo and I partnered up, and I can't thank him enough for every opportunity he's given me with being able to have a brick and mortar business and be able to help you guys out. So it's all about opening a place just to help kids. I tell everybody, if you think you're going to be a millionaire by being a wrestling coach, not very good unless you're, Cale Sanderson or something like that, making a lot of money a year to be a D1 coach. For me, it was just find a way to not lose money and also have an environment where we could, have the freedom and the flexibility to train and get you guys in the room. So.
Yeah. What is it like coaching the Maryland national team?
It's awesome. So huge, again, probably coaching accomplishments. Being the head coach of the Maryland national team is probably very high up there with the best coaching accomplishments I've had. My dad was one of the team coordinators when I was in high school. So he helped coordinate our trip out to Fargo and schedule our camps and order the gear and all that. I actually designed a lot of gear when I was in high school for the Maryland national team. So I had a lot of respect for people that were involved with it. And then, 2 years ago when I was able to come in and kind of step up and be the head guy was a huge, an incredible accomplishment for me. Just something that I'm again grateful for the opportunity to be able to work with kids that aren't from the Maryland, aren't from the Baltimore area. They're from all over the state, and I'm able to work with them for a few months in the summertime and have a boatload of fun out in Fargo. So it's great. Looking forward to continuing to be the head coach for years to come.
So you wrestled freestyle, Greco, and folk style. What would you say would be your favorite?
Freestyle and Greco are definitely my favorite. I love folk style, but freestyle and Greco have a special place for me. When I was younger, I'd say Greco was my favorite. I loved upper body and throwing people, but now as things have changed, freestyle is 100% my favorite. I love leg attacks. You guys know we spend more time than anywhere else with technique. So I love leg attacks. I love working takedowns and offense. But at the same time, I love being able to pick people up and throw them on their head. So I think I'd say freestyle is definitely my favorite.
Okay. What makes your freestyle? What makes your coaching style different from others?
I've had a few parents in the past kind of explain to me maybe why they prefer me coaching their kid over some other people. And one of the big things is that they just talk about that it's like I care. I care more about just your wrestling abilities and your wrestling accolades. I care about how you guys do in school. I care about how's your relationship going at home with mom and mom's new boyfriend, or whatever it is. Oh, you just had a little baby brother. So I try to be a little bit more in tune to the life of my athletes. Have a little bit more of a personal relationship. I find that by building that relationship or that friendship first opens people up a lot. I may be able to help you excel in your wrestling ability because you were comfortable being around me and building that relationship first. So, I like knowing my wrestlers and knowing what's going on with their lives and having an impact in it, just, not just on the mat. But also, I believe in doing it the right way. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to look you right in the face and say, "Oh, you want to be a state champ? Well, you sure as hell want to practice like, or your GPA is definitely not looking like someone that wants to be a Division I national champion." I'm not afraid to tell the harsh realities again, because I wish I would have had someone other than my parents to do that a little bit more for me when I was younger. A lot of people like to tell their kids, "Oh, you're great, you're amazing, you're this, that, and the other," and you get a little brainwashed, and it may not always be 100% true. And I always like to be that guy to, kind of be devil's advocate and tell you straight up, "Hey, you're doing everything you can," or, "Hey, do we need to reevaluate our goals because I don't think you're in line with what you're looking for." So.
Yeah. Who's a coach or a mentor who has impacted your life a lot?
I've had a bunch of them. I've been very fortunate to have a bunch. So, my first big coach that kind of opened my eyes to the world of wrestling and how much I didn't know was Coach DeSarno, Coach Mike DeSarno. He ran the Maniacs out in Mount Airy. And he was a guy, he was an older gentleman, but really focused on technique and emphasized great position. And, he's a guy I still go back to this day and look at notes that I took when I was, in the 7th and 8th grade. And I still read over them because I like staying in line with what he taught me. A lot of the things I coach and preach and teach to my guys now are things that I learned from Coach DeSarno. He was also my first big coach that really pushed the international styles. I never could I go out there and say, oh yeah, we worked on folk style for these months, freestyle these months, in Greco. We just wrestled, and we learned how to wrestle, and we learned how to do it with a great group of guys, and we learned how to do it the right way, like I said, with fundamentals and just mastering technique. And then, my high school coaches, Pete Welch and Joe Bakewell, incredibly close with them. Coach Welch was like a second father for me, and kind of guy where even now in life, let's say I was thinking about making a career change, I'd call him and get some advice from him. He helped my wrestling ability, but I put a lot on him for trying to help me grow up and turn into a man as opposed to just being a boy for a long time. And then I'd also say Kenny Taylor. Kenny Taylor was one of my coaches at McDonough, and I put a post on social media the other day about him. He showed more love to his athletes than anyone I'd ever seen. This is a guy, when I lived in McDonough, I lived in the dorms, and he knew if I had a big match coming up that week or had exams or something, he'd show up to my dorm room and say, "Give me your dirty laundry. I'm gonna do it for you." He'd clean my laundry and fold it and bring it back because he wanted to make sure that I was focused on my goal, whether it was exams academically or whether it was a big wrestling match and get prepared or making weight. He wasn't afraid to spend time with me in the wrestling room afterwards, and literally would do anything that I needed or any of his athletes needed. So just put on that level of care and concern from your athletes is where I have all mine now. That's why I love you guys so much and love coaching you guys. It's because that guy showed me how to do it the right way as a coach and let people know you care about them.
So you've coached younger kids in high school. What is the difference between coaching the younger kids and the high schoolers?
So I'd say the biggest difference between coaching the young guys and the older guys is the older guys have a lot more bad habits. It's really easy for me to take a piece of clay and mold it into what I want to. But when you have these wrestlers that are developed or a little more hardened, that's like turning marble into something. You got to chisel and you got to chip away to make that work. Clay, you can just kind of mold it in your hands. So that's what I'd say is the big difference between the young guys and young guys. Some older guys are a little bit more set in their ways, where younger guys, I can kind of get them out of their bad habits and break them of certain things. The older guys, obviously, we have a little bit more focus on winning. When you become 13, 14 years old, that's when you need to start looking into specialized training, and that's when winning and losing starts to matter. The young guys, I just care about, I can watch a kid get his butt whooped and lose every match all year, but all it takes is for him to hit one double leg perfectly that we spent the last 6 months going over in the room, and there's a lot of fulfillment. Where when you get to the older guys, it's all about, for the most part, getting their hand raised and things like that, or getting them recruited to college so they can look as great as they possibly can. The younger guys, it's just more about development and having fun and learning more about the sport and learning more about your body and how to control it and things. So I'd say it's a little, I don't want to say simple coaching young guys because it can be really hard, especially when they don't pick it up. But at the same time, it's tough for those older guys to want to open up or try things that are new, bring the horizons, but set in their ways. They know what it takes to win a match, and they're not exactly open to the idea of changing, because there's a potential they might lose, So.
What places or clubs do you feel helped you get better at wrestling the most? Like, who would you give credit to?
So, I wrestled for the Dundalk Hawks when I was a kid, and it was a very kind of big. I was fortunate that I had a lot of partners that were my size but older than me, so I was pushed by a lot of older kids. So that was a great place for me to learn the very early stages of wrestling. But I wrestled for the Buccaneers when I think my last 2 years of junior league, 7th and 8th grade, I wrestled for the Buccaneers over in Pasadena, and my coach over there, Ted Fleming, was a guy who, his son was about the same age and same size as me. and it was a room and a team full of kind of high level hammers, and that really opened my eyes. That was a place where I developed a lot and grew a lot. But there's no place I grew more than the Maniacs room with Coach Sarno, and then McDonough with Coach Pete Welch and Joe Bakewell. Just growing spiritually, personally, and then athletically, no comparison to what I was able to gain out of being in those two rooms.
How has wrestling helped you in life?
All kinds of ways, man. I mean, whether it's connections to the wrestling world, I ran into a guy today out at lunch, and he asked me what I was doing for work, and I said, I'm in sales with a company. We do vacuum excavating. He's like, oh, how in the world did you get into that? Wrestling. There's two of the best things that have helped me with connections in life. A lot of people use the phrase, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And a lot of the connections with who I know have come from two places. That's McDonough, and that's the sport of wrestling. Wrestling has taught me to have an unparalleled work ethic. Again, to strive to do things the right way. But it's also given me some amazing personal connections that have taken me places I never thought I would be able to go. And the best part is I'm 30 years old and it's still doing it for me. So, I'd say, and that's a great lesson for you guys. Wrestling can take you really far. Wrestling and strong academics can take you even further. And you could be my age, 30 years old, and still be traveling all over the world, coaching wrestling or competing, whatever it is. So there's a lot of magic with it, but it can't just be you're a great wrestler. You got to be a great person first and foremost, and then there's opportunities to open up yourself. So.
If you remember, did you have a favorite food or a place to go after weigh-ins to eat?
Yeah, my favorite spot was Olive Garden. I love going to Olive Garden, maybe not after weigh-ins, but usually after the tournament. So I'd usually work a deal with my dad that if I won the tournament, we'd go to Olive Garden. Normally after weigh-ins, I liked French toast, so we'd go to like a little diner or something like that. I did chocolate milk and French toast. I always like that. But Olive Garden was always the treat after I won. And, if I didn't win, my dad would drive by Olive Garden. And usually I'd fall asleep in the car and we'd be coming back home. And he'd nudge me and wake me up and point out, hey, there's Olive Garden. And he'd drive right by. And, again, it was his kind of sinister, sick way of motivating me. But it worked, because it got to a point where, I tell people all the time, you have to decide when you want to stop losing and when you start winning. It's not up to your technique or your coach or anything like that. It's a mental edge where you just don't want to lose anymore. So me missing out on a lot of Olive Garden dinners, my parents would say I was always the bridesmaid and never the bride, meaning I was always second or third place. I was never the champion. And I got tired of that. So I went to my Olive Garden, I went to my breadsticks, my tour of Italy, and I busted my butt to make sure I got that. So.
I know you were done wrestling, but if you could wrestle anyone from the past or the present, who would you like to wrestle?
I would touch on Dave Schultz again. Like, he's a guy who I would absolutely love to just spar with and mess around with and talk about technique, but also talk about life and all his experiences. So I feel like there would be an entire experience to being able to get in front of Dave and talk to him. But, as far as famous wrestlers, I had Abraham Lincoln, probably pretty high up on my list. I would have loved to have been able to wrestle with Abraham Lincoln. Fun fact is his mother was the one that was actually a pretty avid wrestler, and she was the one that kind of got him into it. So I think that's pretty cool. And, being able to wrestle our president would be pretty awesome for me. So Dave Schultz, and then as far as like historical figure, that everyone knows, Abraham Lincoln.
So I know that you care about wrestling news. So what would you say would be your favorite pair?
I always had a thing for combat speeds when I was a kid. I got my first pair of combat speeds at a wrestling camp, University of Pennsylvania camp. I had outgrown my Matt Wizards, my John Smith shoes over the summer, and they were causing blisters on my feet. So one of the counselors said, hey, I got a pair of shoes for you. Try these on. And was my first pair of what they would call the West German combat speeds. But I had a pair of them. I was probably in, 6th, and loved them. Wore them until there was holes all the way through the soles, and I actually just sold them a couple of years ago to somebody to sole swap and put them out there. But that was like the first big shoe for me. Now my Asics, my TWR 900s, like they call them the EOs or the EXOs or whatever. The Russian national shoe. I love that shoe. I got my first pair, and I don't think I'll ever find a shoe that I'm in love with. So it's my regular everyday shoe now.
What are some of your best memories coaching?
Coaching for me, one of my best is a kid that I worked with for a while. He was my first wrestler. So his name was Max Hammond. And Max wrestles at California Baptist University in Southern California now. And I started working with Max in the 8th grade. And his dad contacted me, was actually the reason why I got back into coaching on more of a full-time basis. So I started working with Max as a young middle schooler or older middle schooler, 8th grader, and kind of saw his goals and started working with him. And as a freshman in high school, I think he took 5th or 6th at the state tournament. And we kept working. Well, he won states as a sophomore here in public school. The following year, he transferred to St. Paul's with me, where I took a coaching job out there. And he had a rough junior year. It was tough for him to get acclimated to the difference between wrestling public school schedule here in Maryland and private. And then he ended up winning another state title in the private schools his senior year. So 2-time state champion. And the way I accredit it is he was my first wrestler. He was the first kid I started training. So all of Max's accomplishments have been very personal for me, and it's things I've felt very close with. And even now, his personal accomplishments. He was a recipient of a 3-year ROTC scholarship for school. He was an Eagle Scout. Things like that. So as much as being a coach and having the kids get the athletic accomplishments, seeing you guys grow up and take some lessons, maybe be working on to heighten your personal life and your professional life down the road is the biggest for me. And I put Max's accomplishments right up there with Ethan Smith's accomplishments as well. He's a kid who, he lived with me here at my house, and I took him on my wing. I was a young guy, and all I wanted to do was just show him my care and just wanted him to be as great as he could imagine and even bigger. I think when I first started working with him, his expectations for where his career would be were probably not, where they are now, where he's at Ohio State and a 2-time national qualifier already. Max and Ethan are two of my biggest accomplishments as far as kids I've worked with. And the magic is every day I'm pumping out more of them, and there's more and more kids that come through the gym that I realize have the potential to do everything those two did, and it's great to be part of the journey.
Nice.
So you talked about the differences between youth and high school. Do you have a favorite? What do you like coaching better?
To be honest with you guys, I really like coaching the girls the most. I like coaching girls a lot. Julianne and Alex Scott Nicky and Nicole Wamba and Seta and Maggie Palmore, all the girls I work with here in Maryland, Taina, all the girls I work with, it just there's a little bit more of emotion that goes in there, and the way I categorize it is they take it personal as far as my expectations for them. And if they don't win or if they don't do everything they're supposed to, they take it a little bit more personal. And some of them feel like they let me down. And I feel like that can be a bad thing and a good thing. Sometimes if you feel like there's a lot of pressure from your coach, you may not perform to your maximum because you feel that pressure. But with a lot of the female wrestlers, I just feel like it's just this added emotion where they want me to be happy for them, and they're not afraid to go out and let it fly. But then I will say, I'd say my 6th and 7th graders are probably my favorite time to work with kids. Again, because any bad habits they've developed, we can start to change them before they get to high school and then get some really, really bad habits. So,
What is one thing you think you could improve on as a coach?
I'd say patience a little bit. Sometimes I can get a little annoyed or perturbed with certain guys. So working on my patience. I don't think I'm an angry person, but you guys definitely know when I'm being serious and being stern. But for the most part, I think I stay pretty level-headed, and I think you guys appreciate that. We always have fun. We always break a sweat. We always work hard. But then there's some days where I really need to light that fire, and I don't have a problem with doing that. But I would say there's definitely some instances where maybe I get a little more irritated, or I allow a bad day at work and then come into practice to maybe carry over a little bit. And I appreciate you guys being there when I have bad days, because wrestling, it really makes it for me. I can have a really bad day and come in that room and work with you guys, and it can change it all the way around. So allowing wrestling to have that much control over my emotions is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a gift and a curse.
So this is the last question. What is one thing you miss about wrestling the most?
Just being a competitor and being the guy that's out there. There's a lot of times where I wish I could morph into your guy's body or hook an Xbox controller up while you're out there wrestling, because it's little things I've learned that make it easier to win. But I stopped competing 5-6 years ago. It was the last competition I wrestled in. I wrestled at Northeast Regionals. There's guys there now that I beat at an event that are now college All-Americans, so I don't have any regrets. I have considered maybe trying to wrestle in the veteran circuit as I get a little bit older, the senior level. I don't know if that's for me, it's real competitive, but I've thought about maybe doing veterans later. But, I miss the heart of competition, but I find other ways to compete in life now. I compete to be the best coach. I compete to be the best sales rep. I compete to be the best, best friend, whatever it is, best mentor. I miss the competition a little bit, but I find other ways to level it out. But I do miss the competition sometimes, being out there, being physical and posing your will on somebody. It's a good feeling. So
yeah, that was the last question, Kramer. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, it's good to see you all. I know I've seen a couple of you over break, but hopefully things will get back to normal and we can get back to working hard. And I appreciate you guys having me on here. Keep doing this stuff, guys. It's really, really cool to me as a coach to see you guys developing as people, just not wrestlers. It takes a lot of work to get behind a camera and put some hard work into something, and have a lot of people just sitting there maybe judging you or having some criticism here and there. So it takes a lot to be able to do it. So I'm proud of you guys for putting this together, and I hope you keep getting some better people to interview. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys. And hey, Google, stop eating.